as I said, award-winning video game artist, voiceover artist. He does also a lot of other kind of, probably every other kind of voiceover. But today we're going to concentrate on video games. For those of you who are actors, it takes acting, and it's just such a wonderful extension and expansion on your acting career and how you can make money and have a lot of fun in it doing this. So Dave, what would you say that you're most known for right now?
Oh, without a question, the Walking Dead game, the character Lee Everett. This game was pivotal for me, but also pivotal in the video game industry. This was one of the very first games and probably the most successful when it came out in storytelling. A lot of video gamers are competitive in that they're playing other people and they've got to be adept with their controllers to get the high score. This is nothing about that. It's a story that you get to make some changes in the direction the story goes. You can't change everything, unfortunately, but you do get to have a different experience every time you play the game without the idea of or feeling of, oh, I've got to be faster with my controller so I can win. The winning is the participation in the story. And it changed video games forever. It really was a signpost, a cross in the road, where other video games that still may be more competitive add more story element to their games. And I saw that happen in games that I've been in for a long time. World of Warcraft had added a little story element, but after the Walking Dead game, it got more. And one of the things I love about video games now, I always did love being in them, though I am not a player. But I love the acting. I love the kinds of characters you get to play. One of the things I really love now about video games is, as an actor, I get to play characters in depth. You may have the element of battle and competition, but the story element allows you to really get your acting chops going. And few things in life make us actors feel better than a great acting job.
What would you say the age range is of the viewers of that, or the people who play that game?
Well, it's from very young to fairly old. Video games in general, the average age is now between 40 and 50, because the people in that age group started playing games a long time ago, and as the industry progressed, they continued. It used to be mostly men. Now it's pretty evenly divided between men and women. And the people who play the Walking Dead game in general across the gamut. I hear from people who were 8, 9, 10 years old, and I always wondered, are you a little too young to play this game?
Yeah, someone
Uh,
said they started at
yeah.
11.
I was at a convention once, and a woman came in, and this kid couldn't have been more than 9, and this is a couple years after the game, but she said she had played it, loved it, and thought he would love it too, and did, despite the language and the deaths and destruction. But she played with him and watched him play, and they talked about it, which I think a lot of times when things we might worry about kids being involved in, if mom or dad are there to talk about it, we can do okay.
Great. So I'm sure everyone's here. Well, a lot of people are your fans, I see, and they're mentioning other games that you're in. But the main reason we're here today is Dave is so generous with his information. And we're going to focus in on Dave sharing information on how you all who are here with us today can be successful in video games. So, Dave, like, how would you say people start and climb through the ladder, up the ladder and through the
Well,
minutia of it all and become successful?
well, most people are starting in the world of voiceover in general.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they come with a decent acting background, and sometimes they don't. They're going to have much more success if they come with a decent acting background. I have worked with a lot of people from various aspects, people who've done, say, TV promos, where you can learn to do a style and it can work. Sometimes commercials, you can learn to do a style and it can work. Less so now than before.
Right.
Or maybe they're narrators. Well, if they're audiobook narrators, they're already becoming actors of some sort. But the biggest obstacle I find is when we're doing video games, we have words on a page and a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And we think those are the only tools we have. And people start, oh, if I say it like this, if I sing this song in it, oh, I know that word's important, so let me hit that word.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave it right there. And the truth of the matter is, it's not about, oh, knowing that word's important, saying the words clearly. It's about taking on a character and bringing that character to life. Often I say things like, take the words off the page. A lot of times we're looking at the words, and if this was the way it's supposed to go, and I'm looking at it like, and a feeling of, if I say these words clearly and distinctly, and I have a little song in it, it's going to work. And nothing could be further from the truth. We have some obstacles as voice actors when we're doing video games. One, as I mentioned, words on a page and a microphone. Now, when you think about being on stage or being on camera, you are in costume. You have other actors you're working with. You have memorized your script. There is blocking, so you have movement. And we are missing those things. We're not on a set that gives us the thing, oh, I'm in a medieval castle. Yeah, I'm a knight and I'm swinging my sword. We don't have those things. We are sitting at our desk, or right now I'm in my booth. It's 5x7 whisper room. We don't have those things. So we have to learn how to create those things up here. And it's one thing for me to say, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. But I promise you need guidance to do it correctly. Um, Often we're we're not asking ourselves the right questions, or sometimes any questions at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach you how to break down a script, um, how to figure out who these characters are, what is going on, and I don't want to just say give them what they want. You really want to give them what they didn't know they wanted. But unless you can up your acting chops, you're not even going to get the gig. So what I teach are ways to take the words off the page and bring cinematic performances uh, to you as an actor for video games.
I love that you say it's one thing to explain it and another thing to be brought through the process. The reason I produce this and bring Dave to you is from the world of the talent who follow me, is this information is so valuable, and I want you all to be successful and make money in what you're doing. And that doesn't happen a lot of times instantly, but I want you to have fun and feel satisfied. And I have sat in on all 2 days of Dave's training. It is a master class in acting. And I have experienced the actor reading and Dave getting in there individually with you, digging and bringing you through the emotional aspect so you understand it and you come out the other end. This one happens to be 2 days, and it's a lot of hours and a lot of work with Dave individually. And I've seen these performances change. So I'm sorry, do you want to say
No, I
something before I go
was
on?
going to say, and a lot of times, anybody that does voiceover and has success at it, you're at a party, you're out in the street, you're at a restaurant, whatever it is you're doing, if you strike up a conversation, and, oh, what do you do? Oh, I do voiceover. Oh, people tell me I have a great voice.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. And people don't really understand what voiceover is. I call it translating the written word into the spoken word. But I also tell people do two things: get as much free stuff as you can first, so you are comfortable with the language. You're not asking yourself 5 questions about what's being said instead of just one. Uh, but take a class. Uh, And there's some positives about taking a class, uh, as well as some challenges. One, you're going to be nervous getting up in front of your fellow actors, and the thing you always want is to be brilliant. And of course, you're learning, so not every time are you going to be brilliant. But you also get to sit back and watch the success and challenges of your fellow actors without your ego being on the line, where suddenly it's, oh, yeah, that direction. And what he or she did there that changed and made all the difference. That's what it is. Sometimes when it's just you, your ego's so into it, your other things are going on in your head and you don't quite get it. Uh, it's really helpful when you're in that class and you see somebody else step up a little bit. They've gone to the next level. And it'll help you do the same thing. And I always want to tell people, listen, everybody in this class is on your side. Everybody wants you to succeed. So we also want to come into it with the right attitude, which is why often people say, why don't you just work with people who have been working and are just want to, and I say, you know what? You're going to learn from the person who doesn't know that much, who comes along, and that person's going to learn things from you as well. So I like having a class that has people closer
Mm.
to the start of their career and people closer to the end.
So let's get some juicy nuggets here. So we established that the characters that they're doing, that it's much more than just surface acting and words on a page. So obviously they have to get good at this, and then they have to show the world they're good at this, which is usually a demo. And for animation, there's a range of characters. What do they have to develop and show the world in a demo for video games?
Well, video games and animation have something in common. One, and that is that you got words on a page and a microphone. What is different is typically rule of thumb. Um, Animation leans into comedy, video games lean into drama. Doesn't mean there's not comedy in video games. It just means we're looking for more cinematic performances, performances that are more like a movie you might have seen if it's a comedy. And whatever movie is analogous, whatever kinds of movies we've got romantic movies. Yes, they're rom-com video games. It can be, that buddy movie where they hate each other, but they got to save the world and they're joking the whole way through. We've got those too. The Walking Dead game, which of course, post-apocalyptic, and apocalyptic can be from zombies or who knows what else. Whatever genre you can think of for a movie, there are video games to match it. So your performances need to be somewhat similar to your favorite actors. And when you pay attention to the landscape of movies and good actors, they're not just saying the words. We miss often because of words on a page and a microphone. We miss reacting. We miss our thinking. We miss the feeling. We miss the movement. We miss the development of racial relationship with the character we're playing, with the characters that that character is talking to. We have to find a way to replace those things that the on-stage, on-camera actor has that we don't. That's what I teach, how to do that.
So how many should I call them
Yeah,
characters
sure.
do they
On a
need
demo,
for their demo, and how much of a range do they have to show?
you know what? I'm going to say 8 to 12. It depends on how short or how long. When I'm working with people on demos, we'll create about 12 or 14 scripts because you're going to find some that that didn't work as well, and oh, that worked better than I thought. Uh,
Mm,
but you want a variety of characters that I would say something that's post-apocalyptic, something that's a little um, comedic, something that might be very now, uh, something that might be very in the future. You can pick from the superhero food group, so you could have some Star Wars, some Star Trek, some, well, I'll say World of Warcraft, I was going to say, but in you could go to the Marvel universe, you could go to the DC universe, bring characters like that, but a variety of characters, some heroes, some villains, some um AI voices, some robots, some victims, some perpetrators. We're looking for a variety of kinds of characters from different worlds with different worldviews. Uh, and we want to find characters that are right for you. Nobody can play every character, but every actor has a certain range that they're going to be right for. So we try to find those characters that uh, are going to come more naturally to you.
now I would imagine you're referring to characters that we all know, that you can't, that someone shouldn't do a well-known character that someone else is doing. Do you have to
Oh yeah,
create new
characters like
characters in the ilk of, yeah,
characters like not that character. Um, if you show up and you've done a Lee Everett character and it's Lee Everett and you've identified it as Lee Everett, that's not going to go over with casting directors and agents. You don't want to play Superman. You don't want to play Thor.
right.
But you can play characters that are reminiscent of, and often you're not mentioning the name. So you can play a superhero type character that is in a situation that a superhero might be in, and they're short scenes. And we don't need to know the name of the character or the name of the villain that the character may be talking to, or the sidekick. But what we do need to do is be able to feel the good acting in a particular genre of video games and or movies.
Nice. So once someone has their demo, and what should they, and they, they want to book, of course, and they book, what's a recording session like? Like, you're not the one that puts the things on your
You
head,
took that
right?
from the other day.
And
I was
doing
working
the
on
action, are you looking at a screen and matching? Like, what is a booking like?
it can vary. I'm going to say one, if you have a really good home studio like I do, I'd say at least half of my bookings for video games are in my home studio. The other day, I went to another studio in town, Dave and Dave, working on a video game. And you're in the booth by yourself. When you're at another studio, you will have the recording engineer on the other side of the glass. And most
Mhm.
likely these days, your director and anybody else on the production team that you're talking to is going to be joining you via Zoom. And I'm just going to say, as a human person, talk to everybody, say hello, don't get too chatty, uh, but say hello, be pleasant, and understand that you're coming to help them with, you're a cog in this machine. They're depending on you. And when I'm teaching, one of the things I try to get across to my actors is that we are artists, but we are technicians. Sometimes our first take, it might be ever so wonderful, but it's going in the wrong direction. We
Mhm.
need to be able to take direction. So they're going to say, oh, this is what's going on. Give me an ABC on this, meaning do that line 3 times. You do that line 3 times, and they go, yeah, I like C. And they might have a discussion then. Well, what do you think? Oh, I really like that. But what if? So I want you to learn to play the what if game with yourself. What if this is the scenario? What if he feels more like this? What if the person he's talking to is further away? What if the person he's talking to is already dead, but he's talking to them anyway? So now you have to bring that to the character. And I can tell you, every casting director, every director has had an experience where they have an actor that hasn't really learned their acting yet. They may have a nice read, but it's not a varied read. And they'll say, well, give me another take. And they're singing the same
Mhm.
song over and over and over again. And it's a giveaway. You're not yet an actor. You're reading these words.
Yeah.
You're deciding, oh, if I say it like this will give it meaning. And nothing could be further from the truth.
So, do they show you on another screen the character and the movement of the character so you know what you're voicing?
Well, often, generally, if you've won the gig,
Yeah.
you won it from on an audition, so they'll play your audition back for you. So because a lot of times it's weeks, months between the audition and the booking.
Oh,
Uh, there,
very interesting.
yeah, there are characters I've played for years. Vol'jin, World of Warcraft. I've played that character at least 10 years now. But they'll always play a reference for me, even though my pride says I don't need it. I always let them, and I'm actually always glad they do. So they will play your audition, and that will get you back into, oh, that's who this character is. And yes, they will show you pictures of the character. And if you are doing, say, a dialogue replacement, which is mixing video game with anime, because a lot of the games that you're replacing voices on are from Korea and Japan. Uh, in those cases, you have to match the lip flap and the amount of time that character spoke. So they'll show you the visual, you'll see the character do the thing they do as they say the thing they say, and then you come back in English and do it to the same length and hopefully matching the lip flap. And then you do it again, and then you do it another time, and they'll choose the one they want.
So, if it's not that and they show you a picture, does that mean that then they create the actual moving
Well,
images
well,
after they have your voice in the cam?
chances are there's a little of both of that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times they're animating to your voice, but they've already animated a lot. We are coming in closer to the end of the process than the beginning of the process. So more often than not, um, they are going to do some animation to you, but a lot of that animation that may be big scene movement. You're saying things, but it's a wide scene as opposed to a close up.
Oh,
But
I
one of
see.
the things they
So then you
also,
don't have to match the
yeah,
the flapping. Okay.
well, one of the things that does happen though now, they will put cameras on your face, so they can use your actual uh, mouth and eyes and face movement in that character.
Oh, very interesting.
It's like mocap, motion captures when you're in that black suit and you got the dots all over you,
Yeah,
but you've memorized your lines. You're working with other actors. You are on a set, but it's kind of like mocap for your face.
got it. Wow. So everyone here learning from you, like it sounds scary the first time you book
It's
something.
so much
Oh, good.
fun.
Good.
Few things in life are better when you've got a script you like, you're doing well, you are being the hero. What I mean by that is not you're the hero in the story, you're the hero in the story of the day. They need us to bring these
Yeah.
characters to life, to give them voice. And there's few things in life are better than when you're killing it. And the director and the producers are all like, "Oh man, I love that."
Oh, great.
One of the egotistical things I say is, well, my job is to give you too many good choices.
Exactly. And let me interject. I would imagine it's just like any other voiceover venues where you could have had some really great reads, but you're so creative and having so much fun. They probably have fun with you and
They
just
find
want
things.
a little
They
more
find
to
things they
consider.
didn't. Yeah, they thought this. Oh, give me this, but you give them this. You give them this much,
Yeah.
and you give them more than they expected. And sometimes it's the other way around. The session that I was in the other day, uh, I gave them what I thought was more than they needed. They had a very creative director, and she would ask her team, "What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?" And they got really great ideas. Well, this is going on. This is going. So could we bring just a little bit more of that? And being an actor, you need to be able to deliver that. And it just made it super fun for
Yeah.
me.
You know what? I got it now. You just made it so clear to me, like a light bulb went off. As long as you are confident with what you're doing, you're well trained, you know how to do the voices, you know how to take direction, the rest will fall into
Yeah,
place, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
got
much of
it.
it, so much of it is
Oop.
getting in touch, uh, not only with our own feelings, but the feelings we might think somebody might have. Um, Allowing our bodies to move, to be connected. That's
Mhm.
one of the reasons they had the little microphone, a little lavalier microphone taped to my forehead, as well as a microphone in front of me.
I saw a picture of you on your Facebook
Yeah,
in the studio. I
yeah.
guess that was the job you were doing.
That was the job I was doing Wednesday.
Yeah.
Um, Now, ordinarily, I still had to stay on mic. One of the best things about a lavalier is you get to move more. You don't have to stay right in front of the words so you can see them. Uh, but I was double mic, which is something that happens a lot now. Well, they'll have one mic that's picking up your regular voice and another mic that's picking up anything that's very loud. And that way they don't have to adjust. You're being recorded on two tracks. So
Interesting.
things that are in just your natural vocal range are there. And then if you're screaming and shouting, they're getting that on a microphone. That's the input level is turned much further
Well,
down.
thank you so much, Dave. I see we have a lot of questions. Dave has 2 days full of information to work with you. 15 people. It's a small group. Jayme, would you put in the chat how people can sign up? It is www.terryberlandworkshops.com. Jayme will put it in the chat. And let's start with some of the questions.
While we're getting that, one of the things we're going to cover are efforts.
Ooh.
And often people forget about efforts, and efforts are the sounds that characters make that aren't words. You know, it's when you're hitting and being hit, or crying, or laughing, or lifting something, or swinging a sword. Um, we will cover those. So you will get hit, you will hit, you will die, you will breathe last breaths, you will burn to death, you'll be eaten by a dinosaur. We're gonna have a lot of fun with efforts.
That was one of the most fun things of listening to, where people just read words off the page and they thought they were doing it really great. And where you brought them to, it was so authentic. I thought they were really hit. I thought they really hurt. I thought they really were dying. And different kinds of dying, and different kinds of different kinds of hurt.
Strangling to death? Did you get shot? Did somebody hit you with a log in the belly, and it's a lot of pain and you're dying slow?
Right. And the belly sounds different than if you get hit in the head.
Absolutely. And we learn to do those things, and we are actually going to choreograph some stories with no words.
Oh, that's exciting.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. And this is a problem. I know this, I'm going off script here. Like
there's no script.
No, I know. But I promise you, character acting will improve the rest of your voiceover career. You can get away with a voiceover career with a certain style, but you limit yourself. If you can become a better actor, if you can open up so that your emotions, your attitudes, your reactions, you can live in the thoughts of your character, it will change everything in your voiceover career.
I can attest to that, because I've seen actors who do video games who know how to do that. Everything just flows better.
If you want to learn how to be real, conversational, a character that people relate to, character work helps. And even learning to be the real you. I always find it interesting that we will listen to our favorite voice actors and watch our favorite actors, but we don't pay attention to who we are. So much of it is we're imitating something we've seen before, heard before. I always tell people, listen, start videotaping or just recording your voice in your natural habitat. You're on the phone talking business with somebody. What do you sound like then? You're having a conversation with your loved one. What do you sound like then? Pay attention to step back from yourself and notice what your inner dialogue is. And you begin to understand, oh, I can replace just what these words are in my head with the inner dialogue of the character. What might that character be thinking? Little tricks of the trade.
Yeah. We have someone who just said they took your 3-hour X session at VO Atlanta, and that was the most fun part of.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I wanted to have been fun, but I hope it was also, if not one of the most valuable sessions that you took.
Yeah. So that was 3 hours. Guys, you get how many hours a day here? 6 hours a day? 12 hours with Dave. 12 hours.
I always felt like 3 hours was not enough. We're just really getting started. And it's over. But with 2 days, and one of the things I always find, the first reads on Saturday, people are so in their head.
Dave, someone wants you to say "goddamn Mika" in Lee's voice.
Okay. Goddamn Mika. Where's Clementine? Keep your hair short. Don't trust anybody.
Oh, good. Come on, let me see the hearts from that person. Fans. Let me see the hearts.
Yeah, got a lot of Walking Dead fans on here.
Jayme, do you have
Awesome. Yeah,
some?
I'm glad that you dived into efforts, Dave, because that was a question that we'd gotten from people. So fantastic. Somebody else was asking to, a lot of times, both in video game and animation particularly, you tend to go up against celebrities, like on camera A-list celebrities from Hollywood against that for roles. So what would you recommend to people who are, auditioning working voice actors to try to give the best performance they can to stand out when they're going up
Well,
against heavy hitters like that?
the video game industry has reached out to A-list actors for a while now with very mixed results, not nearly the positive results that they would like. And I'll tell you why, because those actors all too often look down upon video games, don't think games are worthy of them. Not everybody. There have been some celebrities who have done some amazing work in video games. Uh, but you have a shot because if it's important to you, if it's something you want to bring your 100% conviction to, your 100% effort to, you have just as good a shot as many of those celebrities that aren't going to bring that. I have heard numerous stories from directors about actors showing up, A-list actors, well-known actors showing up. It's a 4-hour session. They get bored or tired or don't want to do it after one, or canceling because they got a gig that paid them
Ooh.
more money without alerting
Ooh,
anybody.
wow.
Um, those of us who do this and love doing this, we're always there, on time, ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's have another question.
Great. So next question is, obviously you talked about being able to take direction in a session and the importance of that, but especially with some of the characters where you've had a long-standing time recording them, are there ever instances where you have a different creative idea or vision about delivery of a line than the direction that you're getting? And if so, how do you reconcile that if you and the director
Absolutely.
disagree?
Fortunately, I've been around long enough. I think that directors will respect my comments. Um, but by the same token, I'm not that person that's always trying. Oh no, I think it would be better this way. Oh, why? I'm not trying to take over. I understand who I am in the industry and in working on a particular game.
Mhm.
But yes, uh, I encourage people, if they've got a better idea or a better take, uh, ask if you can do it. One of the things about, oh, gee, I think I got a better take. If they say, oh, no, we love that, go, go with it. Just, you're going to do thousands and thousands and thousands of lines. Don't die on the hill of, no, I got a better take for this one line in this career. We have this sense that there's a certain way to say a line. It's because of movies and television, and our favorite actors have said those lines that have become iconic. But the truth of the matter is, if you went to the theater 5 nights in a row, those lines are going to be different every night. The energy is going to be different every night. Uh, the, although the performances may be as impactful each night, it's still going to be a little
Yeah,
different. But why are they still impactful? Because they're still in character. They're still good acting.
yeah.
It's not about a particular way of saying a line. It's being the character, honestly.
And you know what I was going to say, that actors, you have to be able to read the room and be part of the room, and have the sense of, because you become a partnership when you're doing the recording. So be able to read the room. And it kind of just goes along with what you just said. In theater, you're reading the other actor, and they might say a line a little different way, and so you say your line a little different way, and you're also getting energy from the audience too. So 100% it's going to be different every time because it's organic. They know what they're doing. They're good performers, and it becomes organic. Let's have another question. I think we have time for 4 more questions.
Boy, this
Okay,
is going by
great.
fast.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
we're almost an hour.
Time flies when you have fun. So another question, because obviously you know, Dave, that video game sessions can go long. The recording process can be hours and hours and days. So for that, one person asked in particular, how long roughly did it take you to record Rodin? And then my follow-up question is, what do you do to or recommend to take care of your vocal health during those really long sessions
Oh,
where you're recording?
okay. Well, I don't remember exactly how long it was with the rodent. It was not a particularly long session. Typically nowadays, you are probably booked for up to 4 hours. Um, we went on strike, and we didn't get it written in, but uh, especially directors now are very cognizant of uh, taking care of your voice. And if you're doing things that are very loud, you're shouting, uh, typically you're going to take a break every hour, but with extremely vocal stressful stuff, they might give you a break every 20 minutes. Because what happens is you can damage your voice in the course of an hour of shouting, but it'll repair itself fairly quickly. It'll repair itself even quicker and not get as damaged if you take that break every 20 minutes, even though you're still doing the same loud stuff.
What do you
Uh,
do with your voice during that break? Do you
I
gargle
have
anything
some
or?
hot tea with lots of honey and lemon, and I shut up.
Yeah, okay.
And there's some other things beyond that. A lot of times our chords are kind of out of a line because we've been, and you do a fake yawn, and you'll and you'll find
Cool.
that your voice kind of resets itself.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah,
Thank
hot
you.
tea is always such a good call. Somebody else is asking, what is the best video game character you have voiced and
Oh,
why?
oh boy.
I
Well,
know.
I'm going to say Lee Everett for a number of reasons. One, um, I really just got to use my voice. There are a lot of parallels between myself and Lee Everett. He was a college professor, found his wife cheating, killed her and her lover. That's the backstory that they don't really talk about. Not that I killed my
Are you
wife and her
saying,
lover.
is that your life?
No, no, no.
I
Uh,
didn't know, Dave.
but he thought his life was over, and this was how he redeemed himself, is by taking care of this little girl. And I think we all in life have regrets about certain things. Maybe not regrets like we killed somebody, but regrets nonetheless. I'm also a father. I have a daughter and two stepdaughters. So the understanding of caring for those three kids came into play. And I was playing a very now character, very, very modern, very real. The only fantasy was the zombies, and I wasn't playing them.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you have a favorite line from playing Lee that stuck out to you that you remember?
It's really funny. Other people have favorite lines, and this happens with a lot of video games. Fans will come to me, well, what was your favorite line in that game? And a lot of times it's been so long, I don't remember what the lines are. And actors never actually get to choose what their favorite lines are. Audiences do. You will find out that something's a favorite line that's what they love. You know, I'll be back. How did that become so iconic a line?
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Arnold. He wanted to say it a different way. He wanted to say, I will be back. And the director said, no, I'll be back. Well, the director knew something he didn't know, because that is probably one of the most famous lines in movie history.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, you're
yeah,
getting so
absolutely.
much
In
love,
fact,
Dave.
Yeah,
Oh, cool. Well,
you are.
love right back. Heart, heart,
Yeah.
heart. Man, can I?
Yeah, if any of you want to spend a full weekend with Dave, next weekend, oops,
May 4th and 5th
May
for
4th
Star Wars
and
Day. May the
5th.
May
4th
4th
be
and
with you.
5th will start at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll tell, oh, hey, there's Stacy. She's always there. We'll start at 10 a.m. and we'll go to 5 p.m. We'll take a little time for lunch. And often I ask people, now, do we want to do an hour or we want to go shorter? And people, let's go shorter, half an hour. That's all I need. Let's get back into it.
Just go to
Um,
terryberlandworkshops.com. I think it's someplace in the chat, or I'm not sure how they see it, Jayme.
Yeah,
at
I've been putting it in the chat.
terryberlandworkshops.com.
Yep, and you can also see it in the Berland Castings bio and our link in our bio as well. But I've got it in the chat.
Oh, cool.
Let's
Somebody
have
just said it
another
made their night literally.
question.
What do you think about?
Yeah,
They go by too fast
I
for me to
know,
see them.
that's why Jamie's here. She's been
I know.
manning the questions since the beginning, not just what's happening now.
Someone's asking, what do you think about The Wolf Among Us since you played a character by the name of Bluebeard?
Yes, that was one of the horrible characters, the villains that I played that I loved. He's the richest man in town. He loves torturing people, and yet he can't keep a girlfriend. I love that character, and I understand Telltale, who went out of business a number of years ago, has been resurrected. They are doing The Wolf Among Us, and you can tell Telltale they need to get Dave Fennoy back to play Bluebeard. I don't know if Bluebeard is a part of it anymore, but I love that character.
That's right. You're hearing it here first. And that's the cool thing too, Dave. I'm sure you've noticed too with a lot of video games is especially the older ones that were beloved, they're starting to revamp them and release remastered versions of those now, which is cool because it reintroduces people to those games in a whole new way. And it's fun for the original fans and everything as well.
I saw one go by real quickly. It said, do you think they'd ever bring back Lee Everett? No, they killed him off.
Oh.
And for the first 2 years after the death of Lee Everett, I kept getting text messages, emails, messages on all the platforms. I figured out a way that Lee lives. We can. It was a dream sequence, and he really, or he's only half zombie. Just all kinds of things. People wanting to bring Lee Everett back, and I remember when they told me we were doing episode 3. And at the end of it, they told, by the way, next episode he's going to get bit, and the 5th episode he dies. And I was like, what? I was not a happy camper then. In retrospect, I think it made it a better game. It would not have touched you. It still would touch you a little bit, but it would not have touched you the way it did. We wouldn't have had grown men crying the way they did in the goodbye scene between Lee and Clementine had not Lee died. And I don't think it would have been as popular a game. It was Game of the Year in 2013. I was nominated for Best Voice in a Video Game a bunch of times, including a BAFTA. Got to go to London for the British Academy of Film and Television Arts Awards, where I was nominated. Won the and the game just between 100 and 200 awards from various publications.
Amazing. Now, I know you touched on this a bit, Dave, but what specifically drew you to voice acting and voice acting for video games specifically that you just don't get from any other genre of acting?
Like so many other things in life, this was all an accident. I had been a musician for a long time, got married, had a kid, music was up and down. I said, well, I want to stay close to music. I'll go into radio. And I became a disc jockey up in San Francisco, working under the name Billy David Ocean.
Oh.
And I did mornings at KDIA and KSOL, 2 of the R&B stations up there for years. And while I was doing that, early in my career, another DJ, I was writing commercials at the time, trying to get on air. And I was arriving at the station. He was coming out, and I said, "Where you going, man?" He said, "Oh, I'm going over to the city to do some voiceover work. I make more money doing that than I do on the radio." And I went, and a light bulb went off. And he gave me about a 5 minute spiel about, "Oh, yeah, you need to do a demo and then get an agent, and then you'll start making money." So, because it's that easy, right?
Yeah, right.
And I didn't do anything about it for a couple of years, but it never left me. Um, so I ultimately did make a demo. I got an agent, and that's a whole other long story. Got an agent and started having some success fairly early. And then one day there was a buddy of mine that we started together. He was booking more than me, and I asked him what he did, and he said, "Well, I'm taking some classes."
Uh,
And so I started taking classes with the same teacher. Um, she has a school, Voice Track San Francisco, up in Sausalito. As a matter of fact, she just retired.
I've been a
Uh,
guest there. Lovely
oh yeah,
place.
oh
Mm.
yeah. And I teach up there, but that got me started in voiceover. And about 10 years in radio, I decided, you know what, I really think voiceover is the thing for me. I took a workshop, kind of like we're having a weekend workshop with an agent from San Francisco, from LA. And at the end of it, she said, "You know, you're pretty talented. If you ever want to come to LA, we'd love to represent you." I didn't know how lucky I was at the time.
Wow.
But a few months later, the radio station fired everybody. And I went,
Ooh.
"Oh, this is my chance." So I went through my pockets and my drawers to find her card. She, "Yeah, I know we'll put that card someplace." Found the card, gave her a call. She said, "Yeah, come on down." So for about 9 months, I was commuting back and forth between Berkeley and Los Angeles. I drive down on Sunday
Ooh.
night or Monday morning, drive back Friday night or Saturday morning.
Because then there were no home
There
reads.
were no home reads.
Yeah, you
We didn't
had to
have this is
go
this
to
yeah,
the
this is
casting
1990.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, internet wasn't the internet like it is now. Uh, the world has changed. The world
Yes.
has changed. But
Yeah.
how I got into video games, I was doing some animation, New Kids on the Block, it is main character on that. Pro Stars, I was Bo Jackson, and Captain Planet, and a bunch of other cartoons, as well as commercials, TV, live TV, narration. I have done it all, thankfully. Um, so the first video games I did, I just thought of them as another form of animation. But when I look back, most of the work I did in cartoons was adventure work. I was playing, you know, villains and heroes, soldiers, and that kind of thing, which translates very well into video games. And because I'm not a gamer myself, I didn't realize uh, that some of these games I was on, World of Warcraft, World of Starcraft, a bunch of the biggest games in the world, you know, somebody had to tell me.
Yeah.
Uh, but I enjoyed the work and I enjoyed the challenge. And as video games got better, they got better with everything. Uh, the programming was better, the cinematography was better, the animation, the sound was better, the music was better, and of course, the acting had to get better. Um, and so I'm not going to say I was the actor then that I am now, but my acting had to get better if I was going to stay in this. But
Thank
I
you.
prepared myself, and I had been a child actor, and I went back to some of the things I learned then, and it has just continued.
Thank
It's
you.
more than 500 games, somewhere between 500 and 600 games
Thank
now.
you.
Unreal.
Everyone, thank you for all your questions. You said something interesting. The world has changed. Everything's moving, changing, all of you on here, you have the chance to get better or enter video games by joining Dave next weekend, May 4th and 5th, terryberlandworkshops.com, www.terryberlandworkshops.com. And you can move forward and you can change your life. And this could be like what happened to Dave, where someone said, I take a class, and here you are, and you get to spend
Something
12 hours.
I've learned, the people who study, the people who take classes, who go to the
Oh,
conventions,
yeah.
who do private lessons, these are the people who work in this business.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I consider working actors, working VO actors, when you're taking classes, when you're putting the work into it, you are working. That's, as a casting director, that's how I look at actors.
Absolutely.
And we trust you more, you actors, to have a lot of training under your belt, because it's very risky for us to book someone and know that at that recording, the final recording, the booking, you're going to come through and not give them any kind of trouble.
Nothing like training and experience.
Yeah.
That's right.
So thank you very much. Jayme, any closing bookkeeping any closing remarks?
No.
Okay.
You guys signed it up, wrapped it up beautifully. Dave, thank you so much for being generous with your time and coming on and giving us these amazing nuggets. Terry, thank you for the amazing questions. Thank everyone in the chat for their amazing questions. And I'm really excited for the workshop. I hope to see some of you guys there.
Absolutely. Looking
Me
forward
too.
to next weekend.
See you then.
If you are interested in being a voice actor in video games, come on, join me. Bite the bullet. Let's do this.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.